5. Alex reaches over, taps snooze once, then sits up anyway. Somewhere between sleep and waking, a thought creeps in, the kind that shows up more often lately. What if I just saved more? Not a huge amount, just something simple, something disciplined. $100. Every single day. It sounds small, it sounds doable. And this morning, for the first time, Alex decides to actually do the math. 2. Alex grabs the phone and opens the calculator. $100 a day times 365 days is $36,500 a year. Do that for 10 years and it's $365,000. 30 years, over $1 million. It feels big. It feels like the answer. But somewhere in the back of Alex's mind, a quieter voice asks a harder question. Is $1 million actually the goal? Or was the real goal always bigger than that? 3. Alex swings out of bed and pads across the floor. The math sits there unfinished, like a song stuck on the first verse. $1 million sounds like freedom. But somewhere, someone said billionaire, and that word has been rattling around in Alex's head for days. Not out of greed, just curiosity. What actually separates a comfortable life from a legendary one? Today feels like the day to find out. 4. The bathroom door creaks open. Alex turns the shower knob and waits for the water to warm, watching steam curl up toward the mirror. There's something about running water that loosens up thinking. Whatever it is, Alex steps in already turning the numbers over again, like a coin flipped one more time before deciding heads or tails. 5. Under the warm water, Alex keeps running the numbers. $100 a day for 50 years, an entire working lifetime, is just over $1.8 million. Add some modest interest, and maybe it stretches to 3 or 4 million. But a billion is 1,000 million. To save your way there at $100 a day, you'd need to live for over 27,000 years. The math doesn't just fall short. It isn't even in the same universe. 6. Alex stops, hand pressed against the cool tile. That number, 27,000 years, lands heavier than expected. Saving is good. Saving is smart. But saving alone was never the vehicle billionaires used to get where they are. Something else is going on, something about ownership or leverage or time working differently for money than it does for people. 7. Alex wipes a hand across the fogged up mirror, clearing a small circle just big enough to see. Saving $100 a day is discipline. It's a habit worth having. But today, Alex decides it's time to understand what actually multiplies money, instead of just stacking it one day at a time. 8. Getting dressed doesn't take long. Alex pulls on a simple shirt, comfortable pants, the kind of outfit built for a normal Tuesday. Just a person heading out to get coffee and, apparently, to keep chewing on a math problem that refuses to let go. 9. The front door swings open onto a street just waking up. A jogger passes. A delivery truck idles at the corner. Alex steps out into the morning, mint still curdling the Sam idea. Saving $100 a day builds a strong foundation, but foundations aren't skyscrapers. 10. The walk to the coffee shop is short, but Alex takes it slow today. Billionaires don't get there by saving harder than everyone else. They get there by owning something that grows without them lifting a finger every single day. A business, equity, an asset that multiplies while they sleep. Saving is the seed. It was never meant to be the whole tree. 11. Alex passes a bank on the corner, its glass windows catching the early sun. Interest on a savings account moves at a walking pace, while real wealth, the billion-dollar kind, tends to move like a rocket. Amazon, Tesla, a small local business that scaled, all of it grew through ownership and reinvestment, not a growing pile of cash sitting still. 12. The coffee shop appears at the end of the block, the kind of place with a chalkboard sign and warm light spilling out the windows. Alex pushes open the door, greeted by the smell of espresso. Whatever the answer to this billion-dollar riddle turns out to be, it can wait 90 seconds for a much-needed cup of coffee. 13. At the counter, Alex orders the usual, a simple drip coffee, nothing fancy. Not everything has to be a grand financial strategy. Sometimes it's just coffee, a Tuesday, and a mind quietly working in the background. 14. Cup in hand, Alex scans the room for a seat. There's one open table near the window, bathed in soft morning light. Alex heads for it, unaware that the next 10 minutes are about to reshape The whole question of what $100 a day is actually for. 15. Just as Alex sits down, a woman at the next table looks up from her notebook and smiles. She has an easy, grounded presence. Her name, it turns out a moment later, is Maya. She nods toward the extra chair. Mind if I steal this? Mine's wobbly. Alex laughs and slides it over. 16. They fall into easy small talk. Maya mentions she's a financial analyst, in town for a conference. Alex admits to spending the entire morning doing math in the shower. Maya raises an eyebrow, amused. Let me guess, compound interest? Alex nods. Something like that. Turns out saving $100 a day doesn't make you a billionaire. 17. Maya sets down her cup, genuinely interested now. You're right, she says. And most people never even do that math. They just assume saving is the whole game. Saving is step one, not the destination. It builds the base, the safety net, the capital you'll eventually need. But the leap from millionaire to billionaire isn't a bigger pile of cash. It's a completely different mechanism, ownership, that scales. 18. Maya pulls a napkin closer and jots down a few numbers. Every billionaire you can name, she says, made their money through equity, owning a piece of something that grew massively in value, not from a salary, not from a savings account. Alex watches the pen move, the picture finally starting to make sense. Here's the real difference, Maya continues. Saving grows in a straight line, but ownership grows exponentially. It compounds not just in dollars, but in value. A small stake in a company worth 10 million can become worth $1 billion if that company scales. That's not addition. That's multiplication on a scale most people never picture. 20. Maya gestures around the room. Look at this place. If the owner had just saved $100 a day instead of opening this shop, they'd have a modest bank account by now. Instead, they built something, an asset that produces income every single day. Alex sees the shop differently now, not just a coffee stop, but someone's multiplying asset. 21. Maya lists it out simply. Billionaires reinvest instead of spend. They own equity instead of collecting a paycheck. They build things that work without them and take on smart, calculated risk. None of that replaces saving. It's just the next chapter saving alone can't write. 22. Alex tilts the coffee cup slowly. So, does that mean saving doesn't matter? Maya shakes her head. No, saving is what gives you the option to take the next step. It's your safety net, your seed capital, your proof that you can be disciplined. Saving isn't the ceiling, it's the floor. 23, something clicks into place for Alex. $100 a day isn't wasted effort. It's the discipline that makes bigger moves possible later. Billionaires didn't skip saving. They just didn't stop there. They used it as a launching pad, not a landing spot. 24, Maya checks the time and stands, gathering her notebook. I've got a session starting soon, she says, smiling. But for what it's worth, the fact that you were doing shower math about billionaires this morning already puts you ahead of most people. Alex laughs, thanks her, and watches her step out into the sunlight. 25. Walking home, Alex sees the same street differently. All of it built by people who understood something simple. Saving $100 a day is a habit worth keeping, but it was never meant to be the finish line. The billion-dollar leap comes from ownership, reinvestment, and time working on something bigger than a bank account. Alex still plans to save that $100 today. But now, it's the beginning of a plan, not the whole plan itself. 26, saving $100 a day won't make you a billionaire. Not in a lifetime, not in 10 lifetimes. It's a great habit, but it's the floor, not the ceiling. So if saving isn't the answer, what actually is? The truth is simpler than it sounds, but it requires a completely different way of thinking about money. It's not about how much you keep, it's about what you own. 27. Every billionaire owns something, a piece of a company that grows in value over time. A salary pays for today, equity pays for the future. When you trade hours for dollars, your income has a ceiling. When you own a piece of something that scales, there is no ceiling at all. That single shift, from earning money to owning value, is the real starting line. 28. Billionaires build businesses that can grow far beyond one person's effort. A coffee shop that becomes a chain. A garage idea that becomes a global app. A local service that becomes a franchise. The size of the win is tied to the size of the problem solved, and how many people that solution can reach. One customer can't make you a billionaire, millions of customers can. By 29, here's where most people get stuck. The moment money starts coming in, it's tempting to spend it. Billionaires do the opposite. They take profits and pour them right back into the business. More inventory, better people, new markets. Growth eats its own fuel. The less you take out early, the more the whole thing can compound later. 30. Leverage means using other people's time, money, or systems to multiply your own effort. That's investors funding a growing idea. That's a team doing the work one person never could alone. That's smart debt, used to buy an appreciating asset. Leverage isn't reckless, used carefully. It's the multiplier that turns a good idea into an empire. 31. Every billion-dollar fortune traces back to a problem solved at enormous scale. Getting people places faster. Connecting the world online. Delivering packages in a day instead of a week. The bigger the problem and the more people it affects, the bigger the reward tends to be. Billionaires don't chase money directly. They chase problems worth solving for millions of people at once. 32. Known of this happens overnight. Most billionaires spent a decade or more before the real growth kicked in. Value compounds quietly at first, then suddenly all at once. The years that feel slow and uneventful are usually the years doing the most invisible work. Patience isn't passive. It's the price of admission for exponential growth. 33. No billionaire built their fortune alone. Behind everyone is a team, mentors, and a network that open doors no single person could open by themselves. The right partner, the right investor, the right advisor at the right moment can change the entire trajectory of an idea. Build the business, but build the relationships around it just as deliberately. 34. Once real wealth starts to build, billionaires rarely keep it in one place. They spread it into real estate, other companies, public markets, new ventures. The first asset gets you in the door. Diversifying protects and multiplies what you've built, so a single downturn can't undo years of work. Concentration builds fortunes. Diversification protects them. 35. So here's the real formula. Save with discipline, that's your foundation. Own equity instead of just earning a wage. Build something that can scale far beyond your own two hands. Reinvest instead of spending. Use leverage wisely. Solve a problem big enough to matter to millions. And give it time, real time, not a few impatient months. $100 a day won't make you a billionaire, but it might just be the first brick in a foundation built to hold one.